Shalom, Kahalayim La Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachak Wadash. Double honors unto our apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Much peace and blessing to all you sincere Akimadir that's pushing this 100% truth with all sincerity, faith with charity. This is your brother Ash from the Great Millstone, Miami Camp, coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Lord, in this lesson is edifying. It's going to be inspired by a conversation between myself and the beloved brother Jeremiah down here in the GMS Miami Camp. All right, shalom to the brother if you see this, right? But basically, right, we were talking and and speaking about how it's time for the Lord to work. It's time for the Lord to, the brother was telling me, how vexing, we were talking about how vexing these people are in this world, how, dealing with these wicked people. As the scriptures say, let me start off with that, right? All right, 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 7. And I start at 6. And turning the cities of Gomorrah into cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly. Right? We know the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? The Most High destroyed them and made them an example of how not to be. Verse 7 goes on to say, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, for that righteous man dwelling among them, right? Just like how those of us that's in this truth, right? We're dwelling amongst the wicked here in Babylon the Great, and wherever brothers are scattered, they're dwelling amongst the wicked. But mainly here in Babylon the Great, right? That's why the great destruction is coming to this so-called nation, right? It was really a corporation. It's going to be totally annihilated from sea to shining sea by way of those thermonuclear missiles at the apex of World War III. Soon to come. Okay? It says, for that righteous man dwelling among them and seeing and hearing vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. And that's the same way we feel today. We're vexed with the wicked conversation, or filthy conversation of the wicked here. And what that shows is that, Lord willing, we're of the house of David. That's the point of this lesson. Okay, proof that we're of the house of David. Okay, so like I said, me and the brother we're talking about that, and that's when I quoted this scripture right here. This is the book of Psalm chapter 119, right? Psalm of David, the longest psalm, right? Because it's like broken down into parts, and every part for each letter of the Hebrew alphabet, right? The Alat Bayat. It says Psalms 119 and 126. It says, it is time for thee, Yahweh, to work, for they have made void thy law. I read it again. It is time for thee, Yahweh, to work, for they have made void thy law. Okay, and the reason I quoted the scripture is because basically the brother said this scripture without actually quoting the scripture, reading the scripture, just speaking from the heart. And those of us that are truly in this thing of ours for all the right reasons, you feel the same way. And mind you, I say those of us that are in this truth for all the right reasons, because you have a lot of so-called, Israelites out there. I ain't gonna say so-called Israelites. Let me take that back, because they are Israelites, right? But they call themselves Israel, and they are, but they're not the Israel of the Most High. Why? Because they're not of the house of David. The Israel of the Most High is the house of David. So if you can't read these Psalms that David wrote, and if they don't truly speak to your soul in a way where it just fits, it aligns 100%, then that means you're not of the house of David, which means you're not of the elect, which means you're not of the Israel of the Most High. Okay? But we feel this fits into our spirit like a puzzle piece. We feel the same way David felt. So that's a great sign that hopefully, which means to expecting that, right? That's why we call ourselves the hopeful elect. That's a good sign that hopefully we're of the elect. So in David's time, he was surrounded by wicked people, wicked Israelites, right? We know this story of his battles with his own people, with the house of Saul, right? Battles he had within his own family, with his own sons that wanted to kill him. Right? We know the story between him and Adonijah. So David was always he was never at ease, really. Of course, some certain periods of life he was, but when you read the scriptures, he never really was able to get at ease like that. Because even when he subdued his enemies, round about, he was dealing with niggas in his house, and that was, of course, the Lord, part of judgments that was the Lord put on David because of his sins, right? But the Lord never removed his mercy from David. He never removed his spirit from David. And David, was contrite to the day he died, to the day he slept with his fathers. And David felt like this back in his days. And the Lord did work. The Lord did move for David and subdued all his enemies. All of them. And the ones that was left behind after he passed, Solomon got Solomon got rid of them. Okay. So all the enemies of the house of David is going to get taken out. And in these days. And we believe that the house of David on earth today are, just say for the record, if you didn't know, are the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and the brothers on down. And we believe that by faith. Okay? So I'm going to close out with this, of course. It's the book of Amos chapter 9 and 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, which is the house of David, right? And you see the subtitle, right? The restoration of Israel. You see that? So the restoration of Israel starts with the restoration of the house of David. You can't have a body without a head. Israel being the body, the nation, the house of David being the head, the head of the body, which is the governing body, which starts with Yahweh Shai, who's going to sit on the throne of David, his father. King Solomon coming back, right? Just how King Solomon sat on the throne of his father David and ruled for 40 years of peace and splendor and magnificence. Right? Even though we know the story of what happened. Then he came back as Yahushua, paid for his sins and for the sins of the nation of Israel, because the nation was basically torn apart and ran down at that point when Yahushua came. And now today is totally through, but the Lord has risen us up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, by what he put the spirit on Yahushua to do 2,000 years ago, by offering himself as a living, and not only a living sacrifice, but a sacrifice unto death for the sins of the nation of Israel, starting with the elect, and then rose from the dead, from the grave, showing you that all the sins have been forgiven. So that gives us, in these times, in the last days, the last days, because when Yahushua came on the scene, that marked the last days. A day to the Lord is 1,000 years. 1,000 years is one day. So 2,000 years, that's 2 days. So if I say last days, that's like 2 days, right? The last days of school. The last days of school could be the last week of school. It could be the last 3 days. It could be the last 2 days. Get it? So we're in the last day. The scriptures say, Yahushua said, in the third day will he raise me up. So we're in the third day. We're in the third day. 2024, that's the third day. The year 2000 marked the third day. So, really what they really should have said was Yahushua is coming sometime after the year 2000. If they would have just said that, that's true. Okay? If you get what I'm saying. Because you know how these niggas like vocab and shit. Like this, say that our apostles and elders were off because they taught the year 2000 thing. But that's what they were taught. They didn't come up with that. Paul Sarr ain't come up with that. But anyways, if they would have just said it like that from day one, or either he's coming after the year 2000, that's true. And because that's what Yahushua said, that's what the scriptures say. Not to go off on a tangent, but let me keep reading Amos 9:11. In that day, which is right now, this day, the third day, right? In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. Okay, so we know this truth starting with Elder Abba Bivens, going back into the late 60s, marked really the beginning of this, right? Because like it says in Malachi, the book of Malachi, the 4th chapter, that the Lord is going to send Elijah before the great and terrible day of the coming of the Lord, which we know he sent them before Yahushua, or at the time Yahushua came on the earth, because he was Yahushua's cousin, as John the Baptist. But that's not the true fulfillment of Malachi, the 4th chapter. The true fulfillment of Malachi, the 4th chapter, was Abba Bivens, because we know the great and terrible day of the Lord was not 2,000 years ago, but it's soon come. So the late 60s marked the beginning of that and the beginning of this, Amos 9. So the late 1900s, that's showing you getting ready to go into the third day, which is now. And we see the house of David being built up. And close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. So the Lord is dealing with the order, the same order. And we know who David is. Okay. Through faith, we believe. We're convinced. Okay. I am. So Yahushua is going to sit on the throne of David. They're going to have David, which is going to come right after Yahushua. They ain't going to have the rest of the 12 Yahushua's disciples, because we know Peter is David, the rock. Ye are the rock, and upon you will I build the church. Who's the church? The house of David. So the Lord told Peter, basically, you're David. Okay. Verse 12. That they may possess the remnant of Edom and of all the heathen which are called by my name, saith Yahweh that doeth this. Okay, and that goes on to how we're gonna the first thing to say is we gonna fuck Esau up. we gonna fuck the so-called white man up. That's the first thing to say. Okay? So there you go. Because we know we're gonna take these devils, gonna put them in slavery, and all the heathen, starting with the elites. We're gonna take their land, their lands, their possessions, everything. Gonna be stripped from these devils. And the rulership and authority over the planet Earth was gonna be transferred. A rough, violent transition is gonna take place. And the earth is gonna be ran and conducted in righteousness. And then, as the scriptures say, when the righteous are in authority, the people shall rejoice. That's Proverbs 27, I believe. No. Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So right now, we're mourning, showing you that the wicked are in rule. You see? So really the reason why we so vexed, even though we vexed with all, because what are we vexed with? The most shit. We vexed with these people, just disgusting people, proud ass women, fat, obese, sloppy black women thinking they America's next top model. It's all, this shit is all kinds of weird, strange, and niggas just gotta go. And we know Esau's the one that got him like that, got him in that spirit. Even though niggas is wicked off anyway, Esau pushes and basically gives Jake the freedom and liberty to blossom into a fucking wicked ass butterfly. You know, metamorphosize into the most wicked being he want to be. When we were in our power and authority, we would nip shit in the bud. Niggas get nipped in the bud. Over here, niggas get to flourish. Okay, so that's pretty much it, man. Lord willing, knows that I find. I'm gonna give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, HaKadosh. To this one, Shalom.